Welcome to the Nicole Show. I'm your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show for you. Today we are discussing another Kevin Samuels clip. This time he speaks to 27-year-old modern women who need some advice on dating. I haven't seen this clip before, so let's jump right into it.
What is your name?
Cecilia.
Cecilia. How are you, Cecilia?
Doing good.
Hmm. Are you fit to be a high value man's wife?
I think so.
How old
I
are
think
you?
I'm pretty qualified. 27. I'm in the
27.
danger zone.
Mm-hmm.
Danger zone!
You're in the 27, you're in the danger zone. Really? Why do you want to be a high value man's wife though?
I think I'm worth it. I think I'm worth being a wife and making an honest woman. And I feel like I have things to bring to the table. I feel like I'm really a good communicator. And I think that's why I think I get dates and, men offering to do things for me,
Uh-huh.
offering, services, go on dates and
Sorry. I don't know what that's happened. Okay, you think you'd be I don't get it. You still haven't said why you need that though.
why wouldn't I? I mean, I feel like as a woman, I want to have kids.
I'm in danger.
Okay, you're breaking up.
In a
You're
healthy
breaking up. You're breaking up.
relationship. I don't want
You're breaking up. Hold on. Let me ask you. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Are you working now?
No, collect unemployment.
Do you have a work history?
Yeah, I was working at a dentist office as a dental assistant.
So you didn't go to college?
I did. Yep.
Did you graduate from college?
Yes.
And then you became a dental. Did you go to school to do? You have to go to college.
No, actually, just did some certifications and went to a
But you
few
have student
classes.
loan.
No,
I'm in danger.
You don't have student loan. Okay, you paid for college.
my father used in the military, so
Okay.
I used his
All right.
GI Bill.
All right. So a lot of women feel like they want to have nice lives and they want men to pay for them. That's really what this is coming down to for women. I want to have a nice life. You want to be a stay-at-home wife?
I don't mind working.
Okay. Do you want to be?
I would like to stay at home for maybe the first 6 months, and then I can have family members take care of my child while I'm working.
Well, that's not really okay. That's the difference. Have you watched my channel?
Yes.
Okay, so high value men's wives tend not to work. So I don't know if you're on the right broadcast. Because are you saying you want to work or you wouldn't mind working?
No, I don't want to work, but I would not mind working if that.
Okay,
came
but the
down
thing
to
is, okay, let's just get clear. How many kids do you want?
3.
You want to send them to daycare.
Not really. I'd rather have a family member take care of them.
You want to send them to daycare or you want somebody else to raise your children while you go to work?
Temporarily.
Period.
Just for the
Temporarily.
6 months, really.
But it's still, besides 6 months, somebody else is still raising your babies, teaching your babies. See, this is why you ladies got to start being honest with yourself.
How am I not being honest?
I'm asking, okay, you have no children.
Right.
Daycare,
Okay.
first off, family member. I don't know what family member will be raising your kid. Are you planning on paying them? Because
Yes.
taking care of somebody's kid is a big deal. And childcare is expensive. And I'm trying to understand what it is you really want, ma'am. And if you're saying I'll take this, I'll take that, that's not the conversation.
Okay, so I want a family and a husband.
You want a rich husband.
I'm well off.
Not the conversation. Thank you. I'm not gonna play games. I got other shit to do. I mean, oh, well off. Well, not the conversation. All right, let's see. We'll try you one more again. Who are these people?
Okay, before we move on to the next one, I want to weigh in on the last young lady. She seemed like a kind-hearted young lady. I mean, very soft-spoken. If that's indeed her picture, she's a very beautiful lady, so I could see why she would have some appeal. She's in her 20s. That's generally Kevin Samuels' danger zone, and that's your late 20s, by which your geriatric pregnancy is getting closer and closer, so you need to make a decision as to who you're going to pair bond with and hopefully, form a family with. What I heard from her is maybe some uncertainty around what the household would look like. Ladies, if you are petitioning a man potentially to be his wife, and he asks you certain questions around, what kind of family do you want to have? Do you want to have kids? How many kids? That type of thing. That man's essentially kind of negotiating with you. He's trying to get a sense of what are you willing to offer? Meaning if you're only comfortable with pushing out 2 babies for him, you're essentially telling him that. If he wants 4 kids and you only want to push out 2 or 1, then obviously he's going to realize, I want to have more kids. I want to have a big family, of which you guys could talk. But it is not a selling point to a man to tell a man that you don't intend to raise his children. If he's selecting you as his wife, it's because he feels as if you have the qualities that he would want instilled into his children. So if you are deferring the responsibility of raising the children to some daycare or to your parents who he is not in relationship with, or to a family member who he does not personally know, then now you're essentially telling a man who's well off that he don't even get to see how his children gets raised, because when he leaves them in your hands, you ultimately will pass them on to someone who he doesn't know how they run their household, what happens in their household. He doesn't know anything about those things. So that is not appealing to any man. You know what I mean? To hear you as his wife say you don't intend to actually raise his children or be in the house and be a caretaker because you're outside chasing the bag. Now, there are some instances where it makes sense for you to chase the bag because maybe your household requires that, right? Maybe you're both kind of still in a grind stage and you're trying to figure out how to get your finances in order. So you got to work and he got to work, and you're both lifting up the burden of which you guys are sharing the responsibilities of, the child care expenses and things of that nature. But if it's a scenario where you're asking for a well-to-do man who's already got money, right? Your well-being is not determined on how much you work if he's already got it to cover you. So now if he's covering you and he can cover the children and he can cover the household, and all he's asking of you is to stick around and help him raise his children in a manner that he wants them to be raised, hopefully it's biblical, like they want to raise the children in a biblical way, then your presence is what he's essentially wanting in the household. So when you're saying, I'll leave him off with my grandmother, or I'll leave him off with this person, or I'll do this and I'll do that, that's not appealing. A man don't hear, I'm going to make that girl my wife. The one who, when we have a child, she's going to pass it off to someone else to raise them. And I don't know who that person is, what their ideology is. I don't know what they're doing to my kid when I'm off at work. I don't know what's going on. I left the child in your responsibility and you pass that person, the child on to the next person. To me, ladies, don't do that. To me, I get a little triggered when I hear that. And I think it's something similar to what Kevin Samuels hears, is that a lot of these men are very calculated men who have sat down and thought about their lives, thought about what kind of life they want to have, what kind of person would fit into their life. If they select you as the person that they want to marry, they are in essence saying that they believe that you have what it takes to be the person that they would want to raise their children. Those values that you possess, they would want to pass those values on to the children. Those traits that you have, they may want that in their children. If you're sweet, they want you to be nurturing and sweet and kind to their children, right? Essentially. And so that's the one thing I would say. I mean, she was rather pleasant. I think she was a little young-minded, maybe, hadn't given some thoughts to some of the things that he was asking. And, Kevin lost patience, but, that's somewhat typical when the women seem like they're not really there, to really be sincere and to answer the questions. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think you might have another one.
On this iPhone with this crazy background going on. I can't see y'all. Y'all look, yeah. What I think is starting to happen is a lot of people are starting to realize that this whole high value thing may be a little bit more than they're cut out for. That maybe wanting somebody to pay for you to. Here's the thing, ladies. Men have a hard time stomaching paying for a woman who is 27 years old or older. If you've already been out there working, it's hard for a man to stomach. Oh, now you went to college and now you want me to pay all this debt that you've accrued because you only was going to be out here working 4 years. It's hard for a lot of men to stomach, especially 30. They're like, hey, if you already been working 8 years, you might as well stay working. 80% of you ladies are going to have to work. Well, 72% at least. 72% of mothers in this country work full-time or part-time. That means 72 out of 100 married Black women can expect to work. And far too many of you ladies say, I wouldn't mind working, or I wouldn't mind working some home-based business like that woman who was a biology major. I don't know where you guys have become so lazy or think you should have a life of luxury. You haven't done anything. You ain't dug no ditches. You ain't been a domestic. You ain't had to go clean people's houses. You've been to public school and went to college. And a lot of guys sit back and say, if I got to get out here and work and make it doing, I got no problem with that. But I'm going to get exactly what I want. I'm going to get a fit, feminine, friendly woman. She's going to be feminine, beautiful, inspirational, cooperative, submissive. She's going to be on my program. She's going to come preloaded. And I'm just going to have to the things I want. But she's going to already know how to cook. She's already going to know. She's going to already be well-versed in understanding how to serve a man. I will just have to take her and show how to serve this man. You guys are coming as a blank slate to where a man is basically having to come do everything he has to do. And then he has to come and then teach you. And then he's like, well, you're 30 years old. You don't even have a history of teaching. So if I got to tell you one time, that's too much work to be putting on a man. He's like, I got to go over here and build Wakanda. You should already know this stuff. That's why I'm telling you, the ladies who get out and get that competitive mindset, start realizing that you got to compete to get a man and start putting yourself in that position, are going to be better off to win. Let me explain something to you. In order to get into this high value kind of become a high value woman, you're going to have to define your lifestyle goals. You're going to have to define what they look like, what you want, kids, that kind of stuff, how much money your man needs to make, the city, all that stuff. You got to define it clearly. Then here's the big one. You're going to have to scrutinize yourself from head to toe, bucket naked, no weave, no makeup, no nothing. Scrutinize yourself from head to toe, inside and out. Be critical of yourself. This right there is going to eliminate 90% of you, because you cannot be critical of yourself. Then you're going to have to create a financial strategy for investing and improving yourself. You have to make yourself high value available. Femininity, coaching, image consulting, maybe even plastic life coaching. Personal trainers, nutrition, plastic surgery. You may have to take a second job to fund your luxury, high value lifestyle, because to go around these high value men, you're going to have to be in these high value places. So you want it for free. You got to educate yourself on this environment. That's the research. You have to read some books, attend some classes, buy some courses, and then you're going to have to take action. You're going to have to actually get out in the world and go interact and float around float around Keith and Mark and your competition. Y'all not taking it seriously.
It is not a starting requirement. A man who steps to another man's responsibilities is making a serious decision. He's asking, is this household peaceful? Is the mother cooperative? Is there structure, gratitude, and respect? Because no man signs up to fund chaos, conflict, or entitlement. Here's the truth. Good men don't want to be wallets first and partners later. They want to see effort, accountability, and appreciation before they invest resources. When care is demanded instead of inspired, attraction drops immediately. At 27, your leverage isn't in asking for rescue. It's in showing readiness. Men provide where they feel respected, needed, and valued, not where they feel used or pressured.
Shout out to my man with his commentary on that clip. Definitely check out his channel. I believe it's Pearl Media, so definitely go check him out as well. I thought his commentary was pretty keen too. So with that said, thank you for joining me. There was some really good points here raised on the show today. Definitely one of the key points that I would like to leave you with is that you have to be mindful of who you entertain and whether or not they have the qualities that you're looking for. With that said, there was a lot of good advice offered here today, and I just think that you do have to pay attention to people's true intentions. The one parting word I guess I would add is that I don't personally like people who lead off with simply looking for security or something from someone, whether it's security through their finances or security through that person's affection. Excuse me. I think that when you enter a relationship, the best way to approach it is by trying to find how you can serve the other person. And that's on both sides. If you're a young lady trying to figure out how do I find value to this man that I'm, sort of influenced by, that I care about, that, it may be a person of means, find out how do you fill the holes and take things off their plate and make their life simpler. That's serving that person. In the same way, if you join an organization and you start to work, you're trying to find how can I fill a gap in this place so that I can be useful to the company, right? So that it's one less thing that the person in charge has to worry about. And then eventually I can be trusted to take on other responsibilities so that they can have the time to lead the ship. That's the key. And I think when you lead off with just a wish list of things that you would like your person to have, but no real intention of contributing anything to the person, it's never a good thing. It's never a good starting point. So I would definitely recommend that people reevaluate themselves and just assess, like, what are you planning to do for this person? How do you plan to make their life better, right? And if you start from that place, the rest of it falls into place. Because as you start to make someone's life better, trust me, the person whose attention you want will notice. This lady cooks for me every time I come in here. That's one less thing on my mind. I don't have to do that. Oh, okay. She already, took care of my paperwork. She ironed my clothes for me. She got me right. Okay. She's there to come pick me up. If I need her to review a document, if I need her to make some copies for me, she's available. She's naturally curious about what I'm working on. She wants to be hands and feet that can help me get this task done, right? She's willing to learn. Those things are immeasurable to a guy. A guy loves that, right? It's like a husband and wife team, whether it's a construction company. The lady might not know anything about construction, but she knows that's her husband. So what's she going to do? I'll do the administrative stuff. I'll do the HR. I'll do the PR. I'll do the marketing. She's willing to help. Willingness to help in the business. Now she's learned about the business. She knows the business. Now she becomes an invaluable resource to that man. Not to mention that they get to share the experience together. You know, so these are all factors to consider as you, you know, figure out how you want to relate to somebody. These would be my pointers for those who are actually keeping track. I definitely want this show to be constructive to you people so that you actually get some useful information out of it, both on the male and on the female side. So with that being said, I'm Mr. B. Thank you for joining me for this particular segment. And I ask that you stay connected to the show, the Intercourse Show. Like and subscribe if you're not already a liked and subscribed member of the show. Please feel free to join our community and let your voice be heard. Until we speak again, I'm yours truly, Mr. B, signing off. God bless. Be well.